All right, well we'll kind of get through just a few of the little housekeeping things we have here. Today we've got Tom again talking about the built different, the identity, standards, and systems of elite contractors. Really excited. Going to be a great talk though. Before we get into that, just want to remind everyone, you want to click through Tom on the slide deck there.
There you go.
Yeah, so we got our welcome, Tom. Excited to have you here.
Thank you.
Remind everyone, go hop in the JobTread Facebook group if you're not part of it. It's a great community, great place to ask questions, get help, whether JobTread related, business related, construction, whatever. Excited about this community. Love you guys. Appreciate all the support. Also want to remind people about the upcoming JobTread Connect. We've got our annual user conference that is coming January 14th to the 16th. So we're going to have over 1,000 people showing up in Dallas, Texas. If you haven't gotten your tickets, you definitely want to grab them. I think there's only maybe one or 200 left, so definitely get those. The price is going up the end of this week, so last chance to save. So definitely get those tickets. Also get your hotels booked. I know we've already filled up one of the main hotels. We've got a couple other options there, so love to see everyone coming on out. And I don't think I have any more slides. So without further ado, I want to
There
go
you
ahead and
go.
turn it over to Tom. Go ahead and let us know what contractor fight is, what you got to share for us today. I'm just so excited that man. Like I gotta say, like when I see people who are part of your group, I think that they have really taken that next step to want to grow their business. And you are a great person to motivate them and hold them accountable. I love what you're doing. I love the battleground community. Some of the contractors in here, the stories that I've heard have just been phenomenal about how they've, basically been on the verge of shutting down to, you get them back on track, focused on sales, focused on growing themselves, their businesses. And like, it's just so awesome to see when their trajectory actually starts to pull up when they were so close to going under or not building a great business. So I appreciate you and everything you do for us, man.
Well, I appreciate that, man, and it's good to be here. So, first, I want to just compliment everybody for making it here today. That alone says that you're uncommon. Most contractors make um, decisions based on being reactive to everything, and so just the fact that you put this on the calendar and you chose to be here. I have much respect for all of you. So I'm going to dig in here today. Yeah, there's sales and there's profit and there's the marketing and all the other tactics of business. But guys, today we're really going to dig in to you as the individual, because that's what I found is always the first domino to knock over on your way to your next level of success. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to shut my video off, and I'm just going to have a conversation with you guys here today as we dig into this. And so I want to cut right to the chase here today. Most contractors think they're one tool or one lead source or one piece of software away from changing their life. And as amazing as JobTread is, it's that piece of software that you're all using and you love it, and there's great features and stuff. Success isn't in the tools. Most contractors genuinely believe that the reason they're stuck is they don't have the right thing. And guys, that's a lie. It's a trap, and I believe it's an anchor around their neck. Because the truth is, you don't rise when your quote tools rise. You rise when you rise. And today isn't about leads, it's not about systems, and in some ways, it's not even about business. It's about you, the man or the woman, the operator, the leader, or the lack of one. And listen, like I said, if you're here, hat tip to you guys. You're here. It's not because you're failing. It's here because something inside you knows that you're playing way beneath your potential. And weigh in on the chat for me. Like, scale of 1 to 10. 10 is you are maximizing your potential. 1 is you're in the gutter. Where do you rate yourself at playing to your potential right now? What do you got? I like chat. I like chat boxes because it makes me know that you're paying attention, you're listening. All right, good. We got a lot of middle of the roads there. And so that means we got some work to do. So, guys, you've built something. So I want you to pat yourself in the back. You've survived things that would have broken most people. But now, without even noticing it, if you're not careful, comfort will slip into the room. And I believe comfort is the slow death of an ambitious business leader. You know, comfort doesn't punch you in the face, it rocks you to sleep, doesn't it? You know, it whispers, oh, you're fine. You know, you had a good month. You know, you deserve a break. And although comfort is whispering these things, your soul, because you know you're built for more, is screaming, no, you're not. Okay, you're not fine. There's more to do. So what we're going to do here today, we're going to rip the comfort out of you is my goal. And we're going to talk about identity, who you must become. We're going to talk about standards. And to me, those are the lines that you will no longer cross when you're running your company. And we're going to dig into a couple things on systems, about the structure that's going to force you and help you win. And then really, you know, where the rubber hits the road, it's the execution that makes you unstoppable. And guys, this is not theory. This is the doorway to the next version of you in your life and in your business. So you can either step through it, embrace what we're talking about here today, or you can stay, you know, who you've always been. It's totally your call. So with that, part one, I want to get into identity. Guys, if you don't get this, nothing else matters. And I'm speaking from experience here, and we don't have the time for me to go into everything, but when my identity changed, when I was intentional about it, when I chose to rebuild it, based on what, you know, being different than what I absorbed my whole life from the voices around me and the self-talk and those things, you know, when I got this right, things changed in a hurry. So one of the truths that's always hit me like a hammer is that your business will never outperform the person running it. Not once, not ever. Most contractors, they're not stuck because of the economy, you guys, or the labor pool or the competition or whatever. They're stuck because they refuse to evolve themselves. And your revenue's never going to outpace your self-respect and your emotional control, your decision-making power with confidence, and your leadership identity. You can buy every tool in the catalog, but if the person holding the tool doesn't grow, nothing changes. And what I found is elite contractors, and I believe you all want to be elite because you're here, okay? They go through 3 identity shifts, and these shifts, they don't help. They actually break you open and rebuild you into something dangerous, and that's the type of stuff that fires me up. And the first shift, you guys, is the worker or the tactician or the technician to a CEO. This is where you stop being addicted. Pay attention to this. This is where you stop being addicted to being needed in your business. One of the greatest compliments one of our clients said to me one time, he says, you know, all this work we've done the last couple of years, this and that, he says, I'm actually up to a point in my business where I'm bored. And that was actually a great thing to hear because he wasn't needed in his business because he chose to change his identity. This is where you stop tying your worth to how hard you work and start tying it to how well you lead your company. This is where you stop being the firefighter and you become an architect. All right, but guys, hear me on this. As long as you are the hero in your business will never grow past your personal capacity because being in hero mode all the time, it's going to burn you out. But CEOs, they scale, and that's the first shift that you got to make, and you got to choose to do that. The second is going from the approval seeker to the authority. And this one speaks to me a lot. I don't know if you guys have ever done a DISC profile, the DISC. I'm a high D off the charts, and my second most dominant trait on the DISC is a high I. I'm a people person. I'm like 100 on the 100, I'm 100 on the D, and I'm like a 89 or 90 on the I. And I want to be liked, okay? But when you make that choice to shift your identity from being somebody who seeks approval to somebody who operates with authority, You stop caring about being liked. You care more about being clear. You enforce boundaries without guilt. You fire disrespectful clients, okay, without fear. You charge what you're worth without apology. Guys, approval is the addiction of the insecure person. Authority is the posture of the elite operators. And the third shift is going from busy to discipline. Busy is chaos wearing a disguise. you know, it's a drug of the unfocused, if you want to call it that. Busy's the story you tell yourself to avoid facing the truth. We just keep ourselves busy. Okay. And I've found that discipline is the only way out, because disciplined contractors, they destroy their undisciplined competitors without even trying, because it's who they are. Not because they do more, but because they do the right things with what I consider terrifying consistency that freaks people out. All right. Yes or no? Do you want to be the leader that shows up that way? This identity, drop it in the box. So now I want you to look yourself in the soul for a minute here. Where am I still acting like the worker or technician instead of the CEO? Where am I avoiding conflict that's draining my money and my dignity? I mean, I've had several seasons in multiple businesses throughout my career and this and that, where I can look back and I could see where I avoided conflict because I wanted to be liked. That was an identity issue, and it cost me a lot of sanity and money. Okay, where does my business still depend on my mood instead of my systems? We're going to get into systems a little bit later. Okay, so guys, tell yourself the truth. Your biggest bottleneck, your biggest roadblock, your biggest enemy 100% of the time is you. It's me in my own company. Okay, and your next level is not outside of you. It's not the leads, the tools, and the talent. And yes, those are all incredibly important. But without the right foundation, okay, it's nothing, because your next level is the man or woman you must become, and because nobody is coming to save you. So let me ask you guys a question. Where in your business right now? Okay, those questions that are on there. Okay, where are you still? Type in the box for me here the word worker, conflict, or mood. Which one of those resonates with you the most right now? Let me hear it. While you do that, I'm going to take a drink of my agua. Conflict, worker, conflict, mood. Guys, I had a call this morning I had to make to somebody. And it was an uncomfortable call. And I had to self-talk myself into it because I wanted to let myself off the hook. And this is where the discipline comes in. This is where the standards come in. All right. So I want to encourage you guys, look in the mirror, because that person looking back at you in the mirror, your business is never going to grow to where you want it to grow unless that person changes 100% of the time. And guys, listen, I know JobTread does a great job with our, the partners like us in the contractor fight. And I know there's a number of amazing coaching and training companies out there. I'm friends with damn near every one of the owners out there, and good people and this and that. Every one of us is talking tactics, raise your prices and sales, ask great questions and follow-ups. All the tactics, guys, are pretty much the same. What I believe, and listen, I'm my own biggest fan, as you should be about your business. I believe one of the biggest differentiators of us is we work on you first, because you are the foundation of everything. So part two here I want to get into standards. Guys, you do not get the team that you want. You get the team that your standards allow. If you have high standards, okay, but low accountability, you are a hypocritical leader. You're creating a hypocritical culture. And when you have weak standards, you have a weak culture. When you have weak culture, you have weak profit. And when you have weak profit, you got a weak life. Okay? And we didn't get into this to have a weak life and a small anorexic looking bank account and a bunch of stress. Elite contractors, they enforce 4 standards with zero hesitation. The first is performance. And this is huge. Let me ask you guys this right now. I'm a football guy. I'm a big sports guy, but football's my game. How do you know that your kicker is a good kicker? Share it in the box. Type it in for me. How do we know the kicker's a good kicker? Don't be bashful. Come on, get those thumbs moving, those fingers on the keyboards. Yeah, Eric, thank you. See, Eric bailed me out there. Nobody was typing anything in. Results. He makes kicks, right? You make the kicks. I was talking to a guy the other day, 2 days ago, runs an $8 million business, which is pretty damn good, very uncommon. His net profit was barely 6%. And I'm not even sure that's accurate because he didn't know his data. He didn't know his numbers. And when we dug in and I was having a conversation with this dude, it came down that he is not doing his job. He has not become who he needs to be as the CEO of his company to ensure that the performance standards, okay, are being met. Guys, everyone's got to have numbers. Everyone is accountable. There's no hiding. There's no excuses, no BS stories. Performance is the rent due for being on your team, period. And this doesn't mean if somebody's an underperformer, it doesn't mean you don't like him as a person. It just means, listen, you ain't making the kicks. If you're not making the kicks, we're going to cut you. We're going to trade you. We're going to bring in a new kicker because performance standards matter. The next is communication. What do your communication standards look like? Okay, we got to make sure there's none of that chaos with last minute texts and surprises. And I forgot to tell you this. And I've dropped the ball on these things many times through the years. Guys, communication is a system, not a gamble. It's a system just like the way you prep a room to demo it or paint it or whatever the heck you're doing. The next standard is behavior. What are our behavioral standards in this company? Starting with me, by the way, and you as the leaders of your company, all of us. We got to model this stuff. No gossip, no victim talk. Okay? No more of this emotional toddler garbage disguised as employees. None of this, but I've been here 10 years entitlement BS. Anyone relate to that? Anyone have anyone in their organization right now that's leaning on how much time they've had with your company and they have an entitlement little vibe to them? I do. And we got to deal with that. Okay? Because if you're not performing and communicating and your behavior's not there, we got issues. Guys, culture isn't built, it's protected. And it's intentional. All right? The next standard is clients. And this is huge, man. I wish I would have learned this like day one of being in business. Not every client deserves you. They don't deserve access to you and your company. Okay? Those clients that bully you, manipulate you, the discount hunters, no more of these emotional abusers. Okay, guys, bad clients cost more than money. They cost you your damn sanity. You got to cut them off. That is the standard. Cut them off immediately and without guilt if they are not a good fit. All right. We should have non-negotiables on what our team members have to show up like, and we should have non-negotiables about the people that we choose to work with and partner with on their projects, our clients. You know, I have 4 criteria. Okay, I'll give you here. It's not on the screen, but it's 4 criteria of somebody who's an ideal client of mine. The first is they need or want what I have. That's pretty obvious. The second is they respect what we bring to the table. There's a respect. It's none of anyone ever get that vibe from a client like you're less than them because you're a contractor and they're a frickin' doctor or whatever. Okay? We're not going to tolerate that crap. All right. My third criteria is they are willing to find the money to work with me to do the thing they need or want because they respect me. I believe every human being has a magic money tree when they see the value in something. It is not our job to find their money. It's their job to find their money. Okay. So they need or want what I have. They respect what we bring to the table. They find the money. And the fourth is they're a joy to work with. And if they don't check those 4 boxes on our pre-qualification calls or our first meetings or whatever it might be, all right, we're done. I'm not going to do the job. You know, one of our coaches, Anthony Abbott, some of you might know him, runs a very, very profitable, just talked to him yesterday. He's a general contractor in North Carolina. I think he told me he's tracking a little over 5 million this year. Guys, he's operating. Okay, pay attention to what I'm about to say here. Because when he came to us as a client, now he's one of our top coaches. All right. Anthony did 300 grand, paid himself 12 grand. All right. And within 12 months, he grew to 2.5 million at a 50% gross profit on a 100% subcontractor model as a GC. This year, 2025, call it 5 million. Literally yesterday, told me on an hour-long conversation I had with him that his net profit percentage in 2025 is 38.02%. Why? Because he holds high standards. And the reason I brought him up is a couple years ago, he had a client. Anthony sold $1 million renovation at a 50% gross profit for the client. They were moving ahead in one of the meetings. The guy, the client was being a jerk. He wasn't respecting Anthony and his processes and things like that. Anthony showed back up at his house and handed him a $500,000 deposit check back and said, "We're not a good fit." Okay, guys, that's what it looks like to hold to your standards. All right, so, you know, there's a cost to selling your standards too, isn't there? Because our standards determine everything. They create speed and margin, retention, you build your brand. You know, the opposite of that is, you know, when you have low standards, there's low morale in the organization, starting with you, the CEO. Low profit follows this. High chaos, high burnout, can't keep a team together, whatever it is. So I want you to ask yourself, you can read those at the bottom, screenshot them, whatever you want to do, okay? Well, where have I tolerated mediocrity because I was scared to deal with it? Where have I let clients cross lines because I needed the money? That's the worst position to be in when you feel like you're at the mercy of somebody. Where's communication sloppy and costing me tens of thousands of dollars? Where have I let my systems fall apart because I was busy and I didn't optimize them? I didn't give them the attention they needed. I didn't have tough conversations when people weren't following those systems. Guys, where your standards slips, or where your standards slip, your success slips. So dig into that. Next, I want to talk about systems here. Guys, you can't scale chaos. You can't scale your memory. And you certainly can't scale you doing everything. If your systems are weak, okay, then you're going to have serious problems achieving the dreams that you have. And elite contractors, I believe they live on 3 systems. The first is job flow. Lead to estimate, to contract, to production, to closeout. Every single stage must be defined. Every single task in each stage must be owned by a human being. Every handoff is precise and communicated well. Chaos dies when clarity begins. Second system's communication that works, even when you're not there. Updates, expectations, changes, all of it are baked into your process. That's what a system means. It means it can operate without you. And the third system is the money. We got our number one rule. Does anyone know our number one rule in the contractor fight in our programs that we teach? Type it in the chat if you do. I'm just curious. I know we got a few of our members in here. They'll probably know it. It's kind of know your numbers. There you go, Mike. Don't F with the money. Okay? That's it. You are in business to make money. Yes, you're in business to serve a need or meet a need of a client and all that good stuff, okay? But you can't do it at a high level consistently if you don't have the profit. So guys, what's your money system look like? The job costing, your labor efficiency, your billing cadence, cash flow discipline, all these different things. If you don't know your numbers, then you're not leading the company, you're just rolling the dice. Don't mess with the money. Because, and again, this back to this guy that's doing 8 million that I talked to the other day. You know, we dug in, I asked him some tough questions. We're not working together yet. Okay. Quite frankly, I'm not sure he's a good fit. I don't think he's ready mentally. All right. But one of the things that I picked up on was he has a hard time enforcing the standards and the systems because of who he is. And who he is somebody who doesn't want to disappoint people. He's like, oh, I got all these people that are dependent on me to pay their bills and this and that. I said, yeah, but don't you understand that when you're messing with the money, you're messing with everyone's life in the organization? And if you don't have those performance standards that I talked about earlier, you guys, then it's really hurting the other people on the team that are in it to win it. So stop rolling the dice, stop messing with the money. Next, I want to dig into freedom. Systems remove the diseases that keep contractors broke and struggling. Okay? Things like emotional decision making, having to do crap over again, pointing fingers, everything being dependent on you as the owner. And guys, we've kind of hit this a few times already, but systems are going to multiply your profit and your execution and the speed at which you execute. They're going to create more stability in the business, more scalability. You know, another thing we say in the fight is don't scale a turd. A lot of people want to scale because that's the sexy word in business. Got to scale my business. Okay, well, if I have a pile of poop, all right, without a good foundation, and I go to scale the business, I just have a bigger pile of poop with more chaos and more problems. And guys, these systems are not optional. Okay, they're not optional. They're the difference between freedom and a business that literally becomes your prison. Okay, that you'd give anything to get rid of. Like my friend the other day was telling me, this guy I was telling you about. He's in a lot of pain because he's not enforcing these things because it goes back to his identity. So, brand. Who do you need to become to build the brand? Guys, brand isn't your logo. Okay, it's the experience of dealing with your company. It's what do people think when they see your company, see your name, see your trucks. What do they think? What do they feel? 4 drivers, guys, are trust, speed, clarity, and experience, hands down. When you master these things, okay, you build trust, you execute with urgency, you communicate like a beast. And that experience that you deliver, when you master these things, everything changes. Like I'm telling you, price resistance disappears because of the way you show up. Referrals explode. Your cost per acquisition goes down because you're spending less on marketing, because the experience is so good, because your brand is so powerful. Okay? Recruiting is a piece of cake when you have brand. In your company, it becomes a magnet for people. They want to work for you. They want to work with you. It's the reputation that you earn by refusing to compromise on the small things. It's the standards. I want to take a slight left turn here with you guys for a second, kind of unscripted here on this brand thing. I know my good buddy Marcus Sheridan is speaking at JobTread Connect. And guys, if you don't have a ticket, get there. You need to be there. It's a powerful event. Marcus talks a lot, you know, his book, They Ask You Answer and stuff. I met Marcus and we've been buddies since like 2009. And he's spoken at several of my workshops and events, and him and I just spoke at an event in Arizona last month, I think it was, a month and a half ago, whatever it was. All right. So first of all, get to JobTread, record his session on your phone and take a bunch of notes. And more importantly, do what he has to say. Guys, building brand, it takes a while. All right. But when you build it right and you're educating and you're creating content, okay, you are building trust. And when trust goes up, everything else follows. Okay. So just my little pitch for you guys there. Obviously get to connect, but in the meantime, start creating content that is relevant. I'm going to give you guys a quick tip here. Again, this is totally off topic, but I just want to give you something tactical here. You go to Google and you search your industry. Okay. Deck builders near me. How much does a bathroom remodel cost? Whatever it is, scroll down the pages of Google and you will see a section that says people also ask. You guys ever seen that? Yes or no? You're with me? Let me know if you're alive here in the chat. Just give me a sign of life. That's all I need. Newspaper with today's date or something on it. All right. All right, good. So at least I know I'm being heard. Guys, people also ask. That section is what human beings are literally typing into the Google machine. Okay? If you want to rank organically, if you want to start showing up on AI searches, which are becoming huge now, like on chat, people are going to chat. I go to chat probably more than Google now for things. If you want to be showed up in the AI results at the top of the Google searches, answer those questions, create videos, put them on a YouTube channel, write blog posts about them, answer those questions, create that content. Okay? That is playing the long game. It takes a little longer. Okay? But on the other side of it, every company I've built has been on the back of creating content. Okay? The fight is what it is because of content. My other companies are what they are because of content. That is my number one marketing strategy and bit of advice for you guys here today. All right. So, sorry, I had to get a water. All right. Final thing I want to talk to you guys about is execution before we open it up for any Q&A. Guys, this is where, no offense to the female attendees, but this is where the men are separated from the boys. Okay? And whatever the language I should use for the women, you guys can fill in the blanks. Guys, this is where dreams stop being dreams and become math. Every 90 days, elite contractors, they choose one growth priority. One operational improvement. And one leadership upgrade in themselves. Guys, 3 targets, laser focused, non-negotiable, no BS excuses, okay? Consistent measurement, because you measure progress weekly with ruthless honesty. There's no hiding. None of this I got busy crap. Okay? If you don't have time to work on your business and do the things that a true CEO business owner is going to do, then I don't think you're serious about running a business. I really don't. I might offend some people with that, but I've also been known to offend people all the time. So I'm okay with it because I'm just here to tell you the truth. If you're not measuring your stuff, if you're not having accountability meetings and accountability or performance standards and those other things and communication standards and behavioral standards, guys, if you're not enforcing these things, having and working on yourself, investing in yourself, I truly do not think you are a serious business owner. And as I've told a lot of people, that's okay. You don't have to be. But when I look at there's the saying, the juice has got to be worth the squeeze. Look at the squeeze you're putting in right now. Are you happy with the juice? If you're not happy with the juice, you got one of 2 options. You either get your head out of your keister and you start showing up like we talked about here today, or just go, hey, that's not me. I'm not interested in, making the changes to become who I need to be. And I'll probably be more fulfilled and happy working for somebody else. And I'm going to shut my business down. Those are the 2 options that I see. Because the third option is you just keep the thing running the way it is and you're not changing you and holding to high standards and systems and your identity that we talked about. It's too damn stressful. So, at the end of 90 days, you ask yourself what worked, what broke, what scales, Where do we need to get better? If I could relive these 90 days over again, what would I do differently? You do a debrief. It's watching the game tape. Every sports team watches the game tape. They evaluate, they look back. Where do we need to get better? None of us are going to have a perfect game every quarter. I get that. I don't have a perfect game every quarter. But we still have to carve out that time as a priority with us and our leadership teams to make sure that we're paying attention to this stuff or it's never going to get better. This is why I believe so many contractors live the same year over and over and over and over again. I'm sure there's a few people that can relate to that. My first couple, 3 years, 4 years in business, it was the same year over and over. Maybe a little more revenue, but the stress was higher and the profit was lower because I wasn't doing some of these things. So after that 90 days and they do the debrief, you know what they do? They do it again. The next 90 days, one growth priority, one operational improvement, one leadership upgrade. And they do it again and they do it again. Guys, you do this for 12 months, you're kicking ass. You'll be unstoppable. You will separate from your competitors in a heartbeat. You do this for 2 years, which might seem like a long time, but it's really not. Think how fast the last couple, 3 years went, right? You do that, now you're dominating, and you do this every year. 3 years out from now, you're a legendary legacy building contractor. Guys, this isn't luck. You're not going to luck your way to growing a profitable business. All right? This is identity engineered into results. So, guys, elite contractors are not born, they're built. They're built through pain, okay? Built through truth, standards, discipline, executions, the things that we talked about. So here's the moment that matters. You're standing at a fork, probably a three-pronged fork, I guess. Number one, you do nothing, right? Change nothing. Repeat the same year. Call it experience. Second fork or path is you go at it alone. Pretend you can outwork a lack of leadership and identity, which you can't. I'll just tell you, I've learned that the hard way. You'll bleed years off of your life learning everything the hard way. Path three, you get in a room like you're in right now in this JobTread community with people who refuse to play small. You get the tools, the accountability, the community to move faster and cleaner and with purpose. As you can see on the screen here, you know, we've built 3 different paths based on where you're at in your business. Like I said earlier, there's a lot of amazing companies out there. We're not the only option. We're just one option for people who refuse to die average. So choose the path that leads to the best version of you. Choose the path that leads to the version of you that you secretly know that you were meant to become. And guys, I want to close with this before we get into Q&A. I want to go all the way back to the very beginning here. Okay? It is your identity. These identity shifts are key. How would the future successful multi-million profit version of you, how would they show up? How would they run their business? That's what it means to go from the worker to the CEO. It's that identity shift. How would they handle the phone call that needs to be made today? How would they handle the person that's not performing at the level they need them to perform at that they agreed upon when they, hired them? Okay? Start acting today like that future version of yourself. You're not going to feel ready, okay? You're not going to be, nail it perfectly before you get there, but the fastest way to upgrade your identity, guys, is to start acting like the future version of yourself. So Eric and team, I appreciate you guys, and let's open it up for anything you guys want to discuss for the last few minutes of our time together.
I appreciate it, Tom. Let's go ahead and just use the chat or the Q&A. Anyone want to throw anything out there while we got Tom?
What resonated with you? What poked you in the gut? What are you calling BS on? Structure, system, and process is key. Appreciate that, Adam. Mike, I'm carrying too much of the load myself. Mike, why do you think that is? What makes you feel like you have to, what makes you believe you have to carry it? While I wait for Mike to answer, Dave, I've been preaching systems for 20 years, but I'm guilty of having no time. I'm the bottleneck. Dave, it's time blocking. Okay. Sunday mornings is my time blocking time. I sit down, I look at my main objectives for that upcoming week, and I put it on the calendar and I block it out. If I have a sales call or an appointment or anything like that, I work it around that thing because I know I have to work on me. I have to work on our systems. I have to work on the structure of the business, upholding the standards, those different things. So I appreciate you weighing in, man. Mike, not trusting my staff can do it right, which is why he carries too much of the load himself. Anyone relate to Mike on that one? I know I can. Okay. Guys, if we don't learn, I'm telling you right now, none of us are where we are right now without people in some fashion. We have, and you got, this is the identity part in case anyone struggles with this stuff. All right. If you are telling yourself there's no good help out there, I can't find good people, then you will fulfill that prophecy because our brain, the RAS, reticular activating system, is wired to give us what we give attention to. So if you continually tell yourself, my people can't do this, I'm the only one that can do it, I can't find good people, whatever that story is, people won't pay my prices, all customers are cheap, we all tell ourselves stories, you are going to attract and see, your brain will find evidence of those things. And it fulfills the prophecy. It's crazy. What do we got here? Having the confidence to demand leveled up respect. Behavior, no gossip, no victims, no entitlement. Appreciate that, Rebecca. I've been an avid fan for years. Appreciate that, Kyle. So grateful for your commitment to success of others, man. This is my happy place, man. I love it. I love helping people win. Adam, I can't seem to get over the hurdle of hiring full-time staff to take care of what I'm handling on my own. So I know for time's sake, that's a lot to dig into, but Adam, I don't know what you've tried and what you've done, but it first starts with your vision. Okay. And one of the key things that I personally do, sometimes we have the hurdle of hiring because we think we can't afford them. So if it's a money fear, then you have to reverse engineer your pricing. Okay. Especially like when people say I can't hire people in the field, guys, you're charging for the same man hours if you were doing it yourself. You're just hiring somebody else and now they're producing. Now you're freed up to build your brand and sell and build the company. Okay. So man hours are man hours. Reverse engineer this stuff if financial fears are keeping you from hiring. Now, if it's something like, I can't find good people or whatever, if that's the story you're telling yourself, then I would ask you to check the consistency in which you are out there building your brand like I talked about. Matt Heiner is a good buddy of mine here in Colorado Springs where I live, and he owns a company called Heiner Outdoor Living. And Matt is a content machine, and every year he gets dozens and dozens of applications from designers and salespeople and landscape, laborers that want to build cool stuff. He builds these, $300,000 and $500,000 backyards and water features, and the story he tells online becomes a magnet of the culture they have and the things that they're building. So I would ask you, Adam, to look in the mirror on that. Okay, there's a lot we can uncover, but man, there's people out there. And the other thing, anyone that's like, I don't know who to hire or what position to hire, because I hear that a lot. You got to audit your time for a couple weeks. Yes, it's a pain in the butt. I get it. But every 15 minutes, every 30 at the minimum, or 30 would be 15 would be great. 30 minutes is cool. Every 30 minutes, be brutally honest to how you spent that last 30 minutes. And then shoot, with all the AI tools and stuff, you can take that breakdown, you could throw it in, put what you did and how much time. You put it into chat, it'll spit it out. It'll give you a breakdown like, hey, you're spending X% of your time on this and X% of your time on this. Now you have a map, because one of the exercises I work on with our clients is, we call it the sweet spot identifier. What is that one thing in your business, you guys, that comes naturally to you? You kind of lose track of time when you do it because you're so good at it and you enjoy it in the company. I'm just talking in the work, right? And it gets you paid. What is that one thing? That's your sweet spot. Well, my goal is to get everybody that we work with spending 80% of their time in their sweet spot. Well, when you do a breakdown of a couple of weeks, you'll identify you might be spending, 63% of your time on stuff you could pay somebody $20 to do. All right. So do that time audit of how you're spending your time and work towards. And what I do is, I have I thought I held up 5 fingers. I have 4 categories. All right. The bottom is, I'm incompetent at something, but I'm still doing it. Okay. And for me, incompetent tasks are basically anything admin, any type of admin task. I suck at it. I don't enjoy it. I would rather get a colonoscopy than do an admin task. Okay. The next is things that I'm competent in, but I don't really enjoy them and they're not the best use of my time. And then the next level up is something I'm actually excellent in. And this is key. I'm excellent at something, but it doesn't fire me up. And for me, people are surprised on this because, we do so much sales training stuff. Sales, I'm excellent at sales. I don't like it. It's not my sweet spot. Okay. My sweet spot is building a team and building brand and creating content and those types of things. I get lost in that. All right. So when I'm hiring, I'm going, okay, the first thing I'm going to hire for after I do the audit is all those things I'm incompetent in. And for most contractors, most businesses, it's usually like those administrative things. Okay. And then, so I'm going to hire somebody and get those off my plate. And then I'm going to go to the next level and then the next level. So then I'm freeing up my time over the next several months to where now I'm spending 80% of my time, 90% of my time creating content and helping others win and guiding vision and those CEO type things. So hopefully that helps. Adam, when running thin profit, what 1 to 2 actions to start when time and resources are scarce? All right. I love this question. First thing is you got to raise your prices. And it's scary to do that when profit is thin because we start to think we're like, well, then I won't get jobs. The worst is getting jobs that you're not making money on. Okay. Which I'm sure you all know that. So, with the tools inside of JobTread and all that other stuff, make sure, our golden rule in the fight is get to a 50% gross profit. So if it costs you $1, charge at least 2. If you're paying labor and material of $1,000 to produce a project, don't charge less than $2,000. That's number 1. Number 2 is back to the standards. Okay. What are those standards that we're operating from? Are we hitting the times budgeted on the projects? Are we job costing our every job that we do within 24 hours? Now, as you grow and you scale and you get multi-millions, you might come down from 50% or what. I'm just answering the question. The fastest way to, when profit is thin, to make more money is to raise your prices and then control the efficiency in the field. The third would be, I would do an audit of your overhead. Okay. A lot of companies have a lot of overhead that's not useful. Okay. Anyone, yes or no in the chat, have subscriptions you're paying for? Like I realized a year ago, our family had 3 Netflix accounts. Okay. So guys, in our business, we have those things, right? So, I would hands down start with those 3 things. And then, But again, this starts with upgrading your identity. Tell yourself the right stories. When I say you got to raise your prices and profits are thin, people get scared on that stuff. Okay. But you got to tell yourself, I'm a CEO who's committed to, running a profitable business, period. I'm only going to take on clients that are good fit for me. Um, Holding people accountable. Todd, appreciate that. A struggle not wanting to micromanage, create an environment where people don't want to come to work. Hard for me to find the right balance. Dude, it is hard. It's tough, because we work closely with the people on our team and we get to know them and we like them and their families. And, one of the biggest mistakes, Todd, that I've made through the years, and I fight this on a regular basis, by the way. Okay. It's not like this is where you got to work between your ears. That's why I call it the contractor fight. You got to win the fight between your ears. All right. One of the things I constantly fight all the time or constantly struggle with, and if I'm not careful, it gets bad, is I start flying cover for my people when the performance standards aren't met. I start making excuses for them. Well, we had a crazy week. That customer was a pain in the butt or whatever it might be. Okay. But I will tell you that human beings want to be led. We want to be led. Your people want to be led, and they want you to show it with clarity and respect and confidence. You can challenge people. You can call them out. Okay. It's not like we're yelling at people and they're in the doghouse, but it's like, hey, Bob, I want to talk to you about this last project. It was bid for this many man hours. We were over budget. Let's have a conversation. Like if you were to do this project all over again, what would you do differently? See, I'm putting it in his court and now I'm helping and mentoring him. I'm not just grinding on him all the time. Steven, I'm new CEO. Design build company. What numbers should I be tracking, sharing with the CEO on a weekly basis? Well, my first answer would be whatever the CEO wants on a weekly basis. What numbers are going to be important for them. But I think, it's going to be around, CEO, you got everything from marketing spend and cost per lead and cost per acquisition. You've got number of leads, number of sales, days of cash on hand. We've got, performance metrics from job costing. I mean, we could go on for days. I would start with, sit down with your CEO and just go, okay, what 3 to 5 KPIs are going to help you lead this company the most on a weekly basis for me to give those to you. Love to learn more about creating content, AI, and a bunch of new tech integrations. It's foreign to me. Seems like a job in itself. I'm already doing 6. Sounds like I need a good coach. Yeah, Dave, I'd go, if you haven't gotten it, get the book, They Ask You Answer, and then get Endless Customers, both by Marcus Sheridan. Those would be a great place to just start educating yourself on content. And here's the thing for Dave and everybody else. Excuse me. Sorry. We are years of experience in our industries. It's easy to take that for granted. Like, yeah, everybody knows this is how you do this. Everybody knows this. No, they don't. That's why they ask Google. So I would start, okay, number one, shift your identity to I'm an educator slash painter, deck builder, whatever. Okay. So my number one role, the way I see all of my companies is we are a media company first that's in the education business. And we happen to paint, we happen to coach, we happen to do whatever in my companies. So I would start with that identity shift and then just start consuming. Like, Dave, I don't know what your rhythm is with podcasts and videos and on books and all this other stuff, but one of the things I started I got drilled into my head from one of my coaches years ago for me. He just said something in passing. He said, and I've adopted this, he says, I don't consume any content that is not on the topic of the thing that I'm trying to upgrade in my leadership as a business owner right now. Okay. So if your whole thing is around learning to create content, then that's what you're putting into YouTube. That's the books you're getting. And you whole ass it. Don't half ass it. All right, a couple more. Is everyone clear on the difference between margin and markup? This is key to knowing numbers. Yeah, Mike, great point. All right. A lot of, we say 50% gross profit. People, they go, okay, it's $1,000 times 1.5. That's actually a 33% gross profit margin. The markup, okay, is 1.5. Okay. So it's a 50% markup, but it gets you the margin. So that's no bueno. Um, yeah, endless customers, they ask you answer. I'm just going through the chat. Key takeaways from Josh. Awesome. So, anything else, my friends? Hey, and I'm gonna do an ask. Can I do an ask, Eric? You guys just came up with this badass review system inside of JobTread. So if the contractor fight is giving you value in any way, head to the marketplace and give the fight a review and use it. There's a lot of amazing JobTread partners in there that you guys should know and reach out to and do business with and stuff like that. And Eric, I want to thank you and your team for putting this together and inviting me. I can't wait to see you guys at Connect. You're muted.
Just shared the link right to your marketplace. Appreciate that.
Sweet. Appreciate it,
Yeah.
man.
Yeah, look forward to seeing everyone at Connect. Definitely grab the ticket if you don't have it yet. Certainly want to get it before that price goes up.
That's awesome. Andrew, appreciate the kind words. And he mentioned that I spilled coffee on his shoes at an event last spring, and I felt horrible because they were new, and I offered to buy him new shoes. The offer still stands, man. Uh, so thank you all so much. Appreciate y'all, guys. It all starts up here. All right. And you want to, and let me just close with this. We are going into the Christmas season. Your competitors are taking their foot off the gas. They're telling themselves a story right now that nobody buys, can't find people, nobody's spending money, blah, blah, blah. Of course, there's seasonal ups and downs depending on region and holidays. I get that. I acknowledge that. But guys, to me, this is separation season. Okay. This is where you get a jump start on your market for next year in the 2026 you're gonna have. So yeah, enjoy the holidays, all that other stuff, but don't tell yourself any of these crap stories that people aren't buying and stuff. They're researching, they're going online. It's a great time to work on your systems, your standards, your content, all these other things. So look forward to seeing you all at Connect in January.
All righty. Appreciate it, everyone. Thanks, Tom.
Thanks, brother.